In today's Nonsense Wars production, we look at another newer revision of an older model. China Railways built more than 4,700 QJs between 1964 and 1988, making it one of, if not the most widely produced locomotives of all time. Most units were scrapped in the 2000s, but a few made it into preservation, including 3 in the US. I modeled QJ 7081 as it looked shortly after Iowa Interstate acquired it in the late 2000s. After 2 revisions, I'm finally happy enough with this model to make instructions and therefore record a 3rd video. Like most of my 1:48 scale locomotives, the QJ incorporates an experimental feature. The chassis flexes independently of the body in order to balance the overhang around the pivots, unlike the leader. Despite its complexity, this drivetrain has actually proven quite reliable and, with the right pair of tires, quite capable, unlike the X10. As such, I have mostly tried to improve the construction and performance of the engine, and I largely talked about drivetrain changes in the V2 video. For version 3, I wanted to try replacing the dual M motors with a single L motor, theoretically only slightly less powerful. Removing the rear motor and the extension cable required to reach that rear motor would free up space in the boiler to add structural integrity I previously had to omit. The QJ makes a good candidate for single motor operation as, unlike contemporary diesel or electric locomotives, I don't have to power multiple bogies. Like with the powered-up X10, I couldn't decide if I wanted to use a high or low gear ratio. Ideally, I would have liked something close to 1:2, but in practice, my options came down to 9:25 or 15:25. Again, unlike with the X10, I felt the 2 options performed differently enough such that I built both into the model. Swapping the 2 upper 16-tooth gears changes the gear ratio for better torque or better speed. In the low gear, you could probably get smooth performance from a weaker M or E motor as well. Train pull showed the importance of using the right tires. Long ago, we bought 2 types of O-rings, a thinner and a thicker flavor, in order to replace hard-to-find official rubber band tires. The thinner rings had appeared to work well in the past, but the thicker rings worked far better during train pull. I did not test the QJ for that video, but I did test it on the side. Even with 4 thin tires, it could barely pull 100 grams, but with 2 thick tires, it could manage more than 200. All that being said, the overall performance feels pretty solid. On flat track, it has a lot of pulling power in the low gear and can manage a decent turn of speed in the high gear. Part of the traction issue may come from the BF-BFB wheel arrangement. Blind drivers surround both sets of flange drivers, which also hold the tires, such that the engine can easily get high or low centered on bumpy tracks despite its 724 grams. Finally, a note on the tender. I originally wanted to model a prototype QJ with a smaller 4-axle tender, but I could not find any drawings. Modeling the larger 6-axle tender, prototypical of production QJs, requires sliding axles to navigate R40 turns. This tender also has enough volume to accommodate a AA battery box and receiver, but early tests with this configuration proved finicky to wire and you want weight in the boiler anyway. On that note, this is the end of the video, so have a nice day.